Hi everyone. In this video, we will convert between fractions and decimals. Write as a decimal, 84 divided by 22. To convert from a fraction to a decimal, we'll go ahead and do long division. The number on the top is what goes inside the division sign, and the number on the bottom is what goes on the outside. So we'll do 22 dividing into 84. 22 times 4 is 88, so it's a little too high. So I'm going to pick 3 for my first number. 3 times 22 is 66. Subtract. We'll have to borrow or ungroup the 8 to make it a 7 and make this a 14. 14 minus 6 is 8, and 7 minus 6 is 1. So I have a remainder of 18. Now, because I can't go any further, I need to give myself a decimal place or a decimal here and fill it in with as many zeros as I need and bring down a 0. So now I have 22 going into 18. I would have in the past gone ahead and written that as the fraction of 18 over 22, but we're looking for the decimal. And because I have a decimal inside the division sign, I'm going to have an equivalent decimal right here in the exact same spot. So it's going to go in 3 whole times and a decimal of some other times. Now let's go ahead. 22 into 180 is 8, and 8 times 22 is 176. So we'll subtract, and we'll have to ungroup here so that we have a 7 and a 10, or we borrow, and 10 minus 6 is 4, and 7 minus 7 is 0, and 1 minus 1 is also 0, so we have a remainder of 4, and so we're going to continue giving ourselves zeros after the division, or after the decimal sign here. So we need to drop down yet another 0, and we need to make 22 go into 40. 2 is a little too high because that would give us 44, so we'll go in 1 time. 1 times 22 is 22. Subtract. We'll need to borrow or ungroup from the 4 so that we get a 3 and a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So we have 18, which means we need yet another 0, and we'll bring it down so that we have 180. But we already had 180, so we know that the answer is going to be an 8. And 8 times 22 is 176, which we already found. When we subtract, we got a 4. And so we'll put on another 0 and bring down the 0 to get a 40. But again, we have the same pattern. So we know this is going to be a 1. And we're actually going to end up with the same pattern repeatedly because we're going to keep getting 8 and 1 to give us 180 and 40. So I know that this is a repeating decimal of 8 and 1 and 8 and 1, and we'll get another 8 and 1. So to write a repeating decimal, we will put a line over the repeating numbers. So this is written as the decimal 3.81 repeating. We've now converted this fraction into a decimal, and we're all done.